Hey guys, it's Miss Schulman. Today we are going to be learning about writing linear equations from situations and graphs. And by linear equations, I just mean slope-intercept, or that y equals mx plus b. So let's talk about what these things might look like in a word problem. Slope, we said, was a ratio, or the rate of change. As one quantity changes, the other quantity is going to change as well. So you might see things as you might make $10 per hour, or your car is going to do 60 miles an hour, things like that have one quantity related to another one. Our y-intercept, we said, was our starting point. It's where we always start our graphs. So you might see the word deposit, fee, down payment, like you have to make a down payment when you buy a house. You have to put in a certain amount of money down. Things like that. It's where you are going to start. And our points. Our points are two things that are in relation to each other. So our x and our y is what I mean by points. Our x relates to our y. And we're going to go over an example when we will use points. So let's take a look at this first one. Greta makes clay mugs and bowls as gifts at the studio. She pays a membership fee of $15 a month and an equipment fee of $3 an hour to use the equipment. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that she can use to calculate her monthly costs. So let's start with our output, y. What are we ultimately getting? Well, it says right here, her monthly cost. So our y is going to represent our monthly cost. And our x, what are we putting in to get our monthly cost? Well, you have to put in hours to get your monthly cost. So our x is going to be equal to hours. Now, when we're going to put this into y equals mx plus b, let's think about what our starting point was. Well, what does she automatically have to pay? She has to pay $15 every month. No matter what, she has to pay $15. And what's our slope going to be? As one thing changes, what changes in the other? So $3 an hour. So if she were to work for 4 hours, she would have to pay $12. If she were to work for 5 hours, she would have to pay $15. So that is how our 3 changes in relation to our x. And that's it. That's all we have to do. Graphs are going to be a little bit easier. So the cash register subtracts $2.50 from a $25 gift card for every medium coffee the customer buys. Use the graph to write an equation in slope-intercept form to represent the situation. So my b is my y-intercept, and that looks to be 25. And my slope, I'm going to use rise over run. So I'm going down a negative 25, and I'm going across a positive 10. So I have a negative 25 over a positive 10. It's going to give me a negative $2.50. Does this make sense? Does this go with the word problem? We start with $25 on the gift card, and we subtract $2.50 each time we buy a coffee. So that makes sense. All right. The rent charged for space in an office building is a linear relationship related to the size of the space. So we have rent related to the size. Write an equation in slope-intercept form for the rent at these office rentals. So let's start. Let's take a look over here. Let's start with our output. What are we trying to get? Well, we're trying to get the rent. And what are we putting in to get the rent? Rent related size. So our square feet is going to be my input. So we're going to use that information, like I said, it was two things related to each other, to make ordered pairs. The rent for 600 square feet of floor space is $750. So we said that my X was square feet. So that's going to be in the X coordinate spot. And we said the output, the Y, was the rent. And that's going to be 750 in the Y coordinate spot. And this one's going to be 900 and 1,150. Two ordered pairs. Perfect. Now, how are we going to put this into y equals mx plus b? Well, lucky for us, we know the slope formula, which is that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, I have my y2 minus my y1 over my x2 minus my x1. So that is going to give me 300 over 400, which reduces down to 4/3. My m equals 4/3. But what about my b? Well, finding b is going to take a couple of extra steps. First thing that we're going to do is we're going to set up my equation with my slope like that. I have two ordered pairs that are going to give me an x and a y. It doesn't matter which one we use, guys. We're going to use one of them. So for me, I'm going to use this first point. I'm going to take the number that is in my y coordinate spot and plug it in for y. Then I'm going to take the number that is in my x coordinate spot and plug it in for x. So I'm going to get 750 equals 4 times 6 is 2,400 divided by 3 is 800 plus b. And now, guys, I need to get b by itself. So I'm going to take away 800 from this side, take away 800 from this side. I'm going to get negative 50 equals b. Now I can completely write out my equation. Y equals 4 over 3x minus 50, and I am done. And last but not least, guys, I want you to pause it here and write this down in your notebook. This is exactly the steps I just did, but written out for you to copy down. When you're finished, finish the video and look up on the board for your next instruction. See you guys.